everybody, welcome to Wallboy Movies, the place to talk movies, and today we're going to be reviewing Scream 4, the fourth installment of the Scream franchise. Right now I'm going to have some information up on screen for you to read, like director, runtime, and PAA rating. All of that will be up on screen for you to read right now. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on Scream 4. But without further ado, let's get right into the pros. Alright, starting off, I like how we went back to Woodsboro as the main setting for this fourth installment of the Scream franchise. We really haven't seen Woodsboro in the Scream franchise since the first movie in terms of when these movies came out. In the second movie, we went to a college, and in the third movie, we went to Hollywood. Here for this fourth one, they're back into Woodsboro, and that kind of fits into what this movie is tackling on, the idea of horror movie reboots, and that is something that I gotta go ahead and praise the fourth Scream movie for, because this movie is tackling the idea of horror movie reboots, whether it be the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2009 Friday the 13th, or the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Like, these 70s and 80s horror movies went in and got like full reboots in like the early 2000s, and they went extreme with the violence, and yeah, they went ahead and made fun of that here with this fourth Scream movie, and I really like that. And that's one of the things that I continue to praise with these Scream movies, that they go ahead and commentate on the trends of horror movies. We had the first movie tackling the standalone horror movie, in the second movie it was sequels, and in the third movie it was the conclusion of a trilogy. Here it is reboots, and I really like how they went ahead and tackled the rules of a horror movie reboot for this fourth Scream movie. I thought it worked very well, and honestly might just be my favorite part of this fourth Scream movie, is them commentating on the horror reboots, except for one thing which I will get to later on in the pros. And one of the things with a horror movie reboot is the kills are a lot more bloodier and graphic than the film that they're rebooting. And here, Scream 4 is no different. These have gotta be some of the most gruesome and glorious kills of the entire Scream franchise. Like, specifically Olivia's kill from like the beginning part of the movie, like that kill was just insane and gruesome. Like, I did not really think that they would go that far. It kind of reminds me of like Steve's death from that first movie and how gruesome that was. Like, I really like how they went ahead and increased like the gore of this movie, especially since when I mentioned in my Scream 3 review, they kind of held back on like the blood, understandably because of the circumstances at this time. But here in Scream 4, they do not hold back, and it made it a lot more fun to see how brutal Ghostface can be in this movie, especially since this is technically a reboot Ghostface, and I say that in quotation marks because this is still a continuation from the previous Scream movies, but they went ahead and went more brutal with the kills that Ghostface does in this movie, and that was just cool to see. I also liked all of these characters that we got in this movie, like the returning characters that we got, Sydney, Gale, and Dewey. All of them I quite enjoyed, and was really happy to see them back in this movie, and it was cool to see what they've been up to in the 10 years since the events of Scream 3. Like, I like how Sydney went ahead and became an author and wrote on the events of the Scream franchise and her experience in those Ghostface attacks, and I did like to see the relationship that Gale and Dewey had in this movie, because they were married in this movie, and they've been married for 10 years, and I just like seeing the back and forth between David Arquette and Courtney Cox's characters interact with each other, and it was very cool to see on screen. But I also liked a lot of these newer characters that were introduced in this movie, like Robbie. I thought he was a pretty cool character in this movie, and basically predicted the whole live streaming your life thing, because again, this movie came out in 2011. That thing was basically kind of like unheard of, but nowadays in like 2026, that is something that a lot of people do. They like live stream their lives, so that aspect of the movie was way ahead of its time. You also got the character of Kirby in this movie, played by Hayden Panettiere, who is a huge fan favorite character of the Scream franchise, and yeah, I do get why people are a fan of that character, and I quite enjoyed her character in the movie. And I also like the character of Judy Hicks as well, the deputy of the Woodsboro Police Department. She was also pretty good in this movie, and I like how some of these characters from Scream 4 were able to return in later installments, whether that be Judy Hicks in Scream 5 or Kirby Reed in Scream 6. But honestly, the best new character of this Scream 4 movie has to be Jill Roberts, played by Emma Roberts. And that is mainly because of her being one of the Ghostface killers of this movie and her motive on why she donned the Ghostface mask. And it was because she wanted the fame that Sidney Prescott got, which could be sort of like a repeat of what Roman's motive was in Scream 3. But I do think they executed it way better here in Scream 4 than it was in Scream 3, just because of like the circumstances of the Ghostface that we got. Roman was a director and Jill was just a ordinary high school student. I like that a lot more than what we got with Roman in Scream 3, but I really like Jill's motive in this movie on why she went ahead and got the Ghostface costume and started killing some people. And I even liked it more when we got to see Jill nearly succeed with her plan and being a Ghostface who got away with it, which transitions to one of the best things about Scream 4 is how they differentiate the formula from the previous entries. Now, I mentioned this in the Scream 3 review where I think it was at that point, Scream 3, where they started to deviate from the Scream formula a bit. In the third movie, it was just having a single Ghostface killer. But here in Scream 4, they go beyond the regular formula that we have for the ending of a Scream movie where we see Jill put into action her plan, making her look like the victim and nearly getting away with it. Like, that has gotta be one of the coolest things they did to differentiate the Scream formula from the previous entries. And I kind of would have been interested to see where the movie would have gone if Jill had actually gone away with the killings and actually survived this movie, which was the original plan for Screams 5 and 6 before they ended up getting canceled because Scream 4 unfortunately flopped at the box office back in 2011. And I would have been very interested to see how the 5th and 6th movies would have gone if they went ahead and had Jill survive this movie and had gone away with those events. Like, I would have been very interested to see that go down, and that right there I think rivals the commentary on horror movie reboots as the best part of this fourth Scream movie. Like, that right there just makes this a really good entry and among one of the best entries of the entire Scream franchise. But I do have some nitpicks with this fourth Scream movie, so let's go ahead and get right into the cons. Now, these aren't really major complaints towards the movie, they're just minor nitpicks that I have with this movie. Like, Charlie Walker as one of the Ghostface killers, I just kind of was not that big of a fan of the Charlie character being one of the Ghostface killers. Sure, he had some of the most brutal deaths of the entire Scream franchise, like that Olivia kill that I mentioned, but I just really was not a fan of his Ghostface overall, and just his motive of doing it out of love, like, just was not there for me. But like, the biggest thing I have with Scream 4 that I'm just not a big fan of, and I think a lot of you probably do as well, is the Vaseline filter. Like, I just was not a fan of like the cinematography of this movie and having like this like filter over it. Like, I was just not that big of a fan of that, like, at all. That Vaseline filter was just, no, I'm just not that big of a fan of that filter, like, at all. Also, wasn't that big of a fan of the opening sequence of this movie. Like, I just found it confusing why they were watching Stab 6 in Stab 7. Like, that part just confused me a lot and really hindered my enjoyment of that opening scene. But really, those do not really ruin the amazingness that Scream 4 was, and I was very much satisfied with this movie, and I was curious to see what they ended up doing with the franchise if they had gotten their way with Scream 5 and 6 instead of what we ended up getting in 2022 and 2023. And yeah, this movie was just so good and really one of the best movies of the entire franchise. So for my scorecard, I'm gonna give Scream 4 4.5 stars, with the score out of 10 being 9.5 out of 10, with the percentage being 95%, with a grade of A, with my final verdict being one of the best of the series. But that was my review of Scream 4. I want to hear from you guys. What are you guys' thoughts on this movie? Go ahead and leave me your thoughts down in the comment section. And while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. And have a great day.